Hi there, my name's Kathy Barker from Software Solutions, and you're looking at the first of a number of videos that I've created to go with my Power BI Level 1 course. My Power BI Level 1 course is looking at getting and transforming data using Power BI for desktop. Now let me tell you a little bit about Power BI for desktop in case you're not sure about it. Basically, Power BI, BI meaning business insights or business intelligence, is part of the Microsoft Power Platform. It's a program that allows you to connect to a variety of data sources, bring that data together into a data model, and then transform that data so people are able to easily work with that data and create reports and visualizations. Visualizations being things that you're familiar with, for example, graphs and tables and matrices or pivot tables. So Power BI creates these visualizations, it creates these reports by looking at diverse data and then allows you to share that information through a number of devices with others. So Power BI is a very powerful program for data analysis. Now, if you don't have Power BI, you can actually download it. I'll put this in the comments, but you can download it from powerbi.microsoft.com. And it's a free version at this stage of Microsoft Power BI Desktop, and that's what we'll be using. Now, the first thing I want to do is I've opened up Power BI as you see in front of me, and I want to save the file straight away. Now, when it comes to saving, of course, you can press Control S, which is the shortcut key, or you could use the icon in the top left corner. Now, also you could go to File and choose the option Save or Save As. So just like other Microsoft programs, there's a variety of ways that you could save. For convenience sake, I'm just going to hit the Save button in the top left corner of the Power BI desktop screen. I want to save this file, I'm just referring to my notes here, as data model. So we give it the name here and the file name, data model. And I want to save it to my desktop. And I'll just click the Save button. And notice that a Power BI file is a PBIX file. So if you ever get emailed or get given a PBIX file and you're wondering what type of file that is, it's actually a Power BI desktop file. Okay, data model appears at the top of my screen, so that is now the name of the file that I'm working with. Now I want to go and get some data, and I'm going to start with flat files. Flat files are typically CSV files or text files or even Excel files. They're basically one-dimensional tabular lists. They typically have column headings, and each row is a record. There's no real relationship or hierarchy within the data, it's just a flat file. Now, I'd like to get some data from an Excel file. And so I'm going to, on the Home tab within Power BI, click this Excel Workbook button. I can click this to bring in an Excel file, or I could hit Get Data, and there's a variety of sources that I could bring into Power BI. And the top option again is Excel Workbook. So using this option or using this option, I basically want to go to my folder called Exercise Files, and I want to grab a file called 2021 Sales. So this is the spreadsheet that I'm bringing into my Power BI. So I go Open. It connects to the data, as you can see, little flashes, and then what we call the navigator appears. Now when the navigator appears, it basically gives you at least a worksheet if it's an Excel file, and that's represented by this icon. But if you actually have formatted your data as a table in Excel, then you'll also get a table option as well. Now, as far as best practice is concerned, formatting your data as a table in Excel before bringing it into Power BI is considered best practice for reasons of data compression. So I can look at what's in the worksheet just by clicking this option, or I can look at what's in the table by clicking this option, and invariably they're the same sort of data. But I'm going to stick with best practice and I'm going to bring in the table, and I have the option then to tick it. And then I have the option to load it or transform it. Now, if you load it, it will simply load it straight into Power BI. But if you actually transform, you'll be thrown into Power Query, which is the query engine that sits in Excel and in Power BI that allows you to transform data. So I'm going to bring in the data and transform it with Power Query by clicking the Transform Data button. Now, before I do that, I just want to mention if you have the Excel data open in Excel, you can press the shortcut key Control T to quickly format the data as a table and then load it into Power BI. So I'm going to transform the data. I'll just bring this into view so you can see. And this is the Power Query editor. By hitting transform, the Power Query editor automatically opens and the table or the query that you brought in, sales, appears inside this editor, and you're able to now transform that data using Power Query. I'll just click this refresh option. So if you have a refresh option, just click that as well. So what you've got now effectively is two windows you're working with. You're working with the Power Query editor, but you're also working with the Power BI screen, which is this one here. So you jump back and forth between these two, or we could put them side by side. I'm looking at Power BI here, so if I press the Windows key and hit the left arrow, I'll put that on the left, and on the right, I'll put Power Query. And I may have to hit Windows right arrow to put it on the right. I can resize this queries pane so it's not so wide, and now I'm seeing Power Query next door to Power BI. If you have a decent size screen, then I'd recommend that you do that. If you don't, then just jump back and forth between them, probably just using Alt-Tab or using the button on your taskbar at the bottom of your screen. I don't have a big screen so that you can clearly see, so I'm actually going to maximize my Power Query and just focus on one window at a time. If I want to go back to Power BI and load this data into Power BI, what you have in the Power Query Editor window is this button, Close and Apply. You can hit its drop down and simply close or simply apply, but I actually want to do both. I want to close the Power Query Editor and I want to apply the changes in the data to my Power BI desktop. So I click the Close and Apply. Let me just maximize this window. When it lets me, it's loading, it's connecting, and it's bringing the data into the fields list, particularly of the Power BI desktop. So the fields on my right hand side is my sales that I've just imported. It has a chevron in the front which I can click and expand, and I can see that in the sales I have 3 columns just full of text and I have 3 columns full of numbers: sale 2019, sales 2020 and sales 2021. So you can click the chevron and open and close what is inside that query. If I want to return to the Power Query Editor, I hit the Transform Data. Transform Data will take me back to Power Query, so I can then make changes to my data. Close and Apply will take me back to Power BI, where I can then add my data to my report canvas, which is what you see here. So that's bringing in a flat file, an Excel file, into Power Query and jumping back and forth between Power Query and Power BI. Come back for video 2 to learn more. I'm just going to save. See you soon.